Okay, guys, so it's a Sunday. What is it? Sunday, 30th of June. So 6 months all is already done. Pretty much done. 6 months, boom, just like that, finished. It's actually kind of mad. But anyway, time is 11 o'clock. So, and I've done everything I need to do. I've eaten all that stuff, da 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 da. That means I can go gym early. So this is my first time going gym. Actually, have I been before 12 o'clock? I don't think I have. But eventually, bleh, I'm gonna start again. All right, so my first time going to gym before 12 o'clock. I think so. But I just want to say that, eventually I did it. It took me about 20 attempts, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that even if you can't get in your first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, 10th, eventually you get it if you keep telling yourself, I'm gonna try. Obviously, so many things come in your way, so many obstacles come in your way, and but eventually, if you keep telling yourself that you're gonna try, eventually you'll do it. I remember I was playing football yesterday, and then I was talking to one of my mates. He was saying playing in defense is one of the hardest things because basically how we play is like we play in tournament because we play indoor. So basically we get 15 players almost, 15, 16, 17, maybe 18 players. So it's like a six-a-side pitch. So 6v6, and like whoever, it's basically golden goal. And he was like, playing striker is one of the easiest because you can miss like 30 attempts and it's a 5 minute games, so just bang out. So but if you score one goal, you're in. And I was like, that's kind of true. Well, I was like, and I think about it like this year, like it's taken me so many attempts to be able to go before 12 o'clock because so many things come in my way. But I was like, eventually, one day I'm gonna get it, and then once I hit it again, once I get it the first time, the second time will be a lot easier. So I was like, maybe this is what you guys need to listen to as well. If you can't get in your first attempt, second, third, fifth, 10th, however many attempts later, if you just get the first attempt, get in the second attempt, it'll be easier. But it's all about putting in that work, putting that consistency, even if it's just like trying to go before 12 o'clock. And so, with that being said, I'm going to shoulders, arms, and chest, like how I do usually, and hands down push ups and all that stuff. So, I'll see you guys at the gym.
Try to do as much good possible as efficiently as possible. And that efficiency thing is really fun if you guys who are listening are out for a challenge. Like, one of the things that you can, I think this heightens the meaning in your life, is to try to do difficult things, right? Aim high. Don't aim so damn high you can't manage it, and make sure you break down your aims into reasonably attainable sub-goals, but you want to aim high, and then you want to see how hyper efficient you can get. That's a great thing to do in your early 20s, is to see, okay, like, discipline yourself. You think, okay, how much work can I do if I load myself right to the maximum? How far can I work? How hard can I work until I exhaust myself? And then you back off, obviously, because the optimal amount of working, productive engagement, let's say, is that which is sustainable across decades. So you have to learn that, but you don't learn that without stretching yourself to your limits to begin with. And if your life isn't everything it could be, and if you're suffering from an excess of meaninglessness, well, it means you're not oriented in the world of chaos and order properly. It's like you could learn to discipline yourself. Figure out what it is that you need to do and that you want to do, and then see how efficient you can get. Because one of the things that's quite fun is to figure out, if you have a task, I always tell my graduate students this, if they're doing an experiment too, if you have a task that you have to do, it's really interesting to spend a few minutes, sometimes hours, depending on how long the task is, see if you can figure out how to do it from 5 to 10 times faster. It means you'll have to rearrange the way you think about it, but you can often do it. And that's how extremely productive people get so hyper efficient. Sometimes it means you have to delegate. Sometimes it means you have to bring other people aboard. That's delegation as well, I suppose. But there's a lot of preconceptions that you hold about who you are and who the world is that you could dispense with, that would make you a way more efficient actor in the world. Ask yourself what would motivate you. First of all, don't be studying 8 hours a day, because that isn't going to work and you're not going to do it anyways. Would you start studying 5 minutes a day? Seriously, could you bring it up to 10 minutes a day? What would you have to do for yourself to get yourself to sit down for half an hour a day and study intently? Like, maybe you'd have to, I don't know what you'd have to do, like have a beer at 6 o'clock at night or something, or maybe you'd have to go for a walk in the park or go out for coffee. It's like, imagine that you're sitting down with a stupid, undisciplined child, and you're trying to get that child to do something useful. And you say, okay, look, I want you to do X, it's necessary, but you can pick how much of it you're going to do, and I'll give you what you want if you do it. Well, ask yourself that and see what happens. So don't try to tyrannize yourself, try to negotiate with yourself and use some reward and see how that works. And start slow, maybe you're not very disciplined and the best you can do is half an hour of studying it a day. Well, start with half an hour. Increase that 5 minutes a week. If you do that, that's a lot. If you do that for a year, then by the end of the year you'll be studying 4 hours a day. So you can that's just with 5 minutes a week, right? Because that's 250 minutes in a year. So start ridiculously, pathetically. Study for 5 minutes a day for a week, and then move it to 10. You'll be able to do that. And don't cheat, because one of the things people do is they make a deal with themselves like that. I'm going to study for 10 minutes a day, each day. And then they get into it and they think, wow, this is going really good. So they study for 2 hours, and then they've broken the contract with themselves and they don't trust themselves anymore. And then they don't study for a whole year, or, well, maybe not, for a month. So, but set your contract. Ask yourself, what could I do to move myself forward to my goal that I would do? And then how could I improve that incrementally? You can't exist outside of a framework of value. It's not possible. It's not technically possible. I outline this in quite a bit of detail in chapter 10, which is called Rule 10, which is called Be Precise in Your Speech, is that the way the world manifests itself to you is integrally tied to your value structure. And that's because, to put it very simply, is that your very vision is dependent on an aim. Like whenever you look at the world, you're aiming at something. You're aiming at something with your eyes. You can't focus on something without aiming at it, and you won't aim at it without valuing it. So your very perceptions are dependent on your value structure. Now that doesn't mean there isn't a world. It does mean that experience is a complex interplay of your value structure and the unmanifest world. It's something like that. And then that begs the question, which is, well, if you have to have a value structure, then what should it be? Well, and then that brings us back to the ideas that we were talking about earlier. Like you should value being. You should take on the responsibility of being as your highest ethical obligation and try to improve it, try to reduce suffering, try to make the most out of yourself in a way that's beneficial to you and your family and your community. You should aim high, and your perceptions will reconfigure themselves around those aims, and that will allow the world to manifest itself to you in the most positive possible manner, or at least in the most meaningful possible manner. And in the absence of that, all you have is stupid suffering. That is the anxiety and depression that we talked about earlier. Without a point, without value, without an aim, all you're left with is the misery and anxiety of life. That makes people bitter.
I love to bring up the notion of the aim, because one can react to this stupid suffering in a number of ways, but this is so clear. You write in it, you say, you cannot aim yourself at anything if you are completely undisciplined and untutored. You will not know what to target, you won't fly straight, even if you do get your aim right. And then you will conclude there is nothing to aim for, and then you will be lost. And these days, the prevailing moral framework, as I see it, is if it feels good, do it. How is it that discipline and the straight and narrow offer the best chance for a good life? And how is it that we have forgotten that is the case?
Well, the reason that discipline is necessary is because you're a mass of competing short-term interests. And so the question is then, well, which short-term interests should win out? And the answer to that is, well, none of them. They need to be organized into a hierarchy that makes them functional across time and across individuals. So like a 2-year-old is very likely to act out his or her proximal impulse. But of course, a 2-year-old can't survive in the world. You have to bring your primary instincts, let's say, under the regulatory structure of a higher order value system that allows them to manifest themselves without undue mutual sacrifice across large spans of time in the presence of large numbers of other people. So that requires a very sophisticated ordering. It's like we already talked about the fact that a meta-narrative is necessary to unite subcultures, say, so that they can operate peacefully and harmoniously within the same space. The same thing applies within you, because you're an internal coalition of warring single-minded tribes, and they have to all be brought under the organizational structure of long-term collective vision, let's say. And in order to do that, you have to be disciplined. And any discipline, technically speaking, is an attempt to bring all those competing short-term impulses under a larger scale and more inclusive framework. And so you do that, and then, well, that's actually what gives you freedom. Being impulsive and being free aren't the same things, because if you're impulsive, you're just the slave of your impulses.
Right.
There's no freedom in that. That's the same freedom, so to speak, literally, that a 2-year-old has, because a 2-year-old isn't socialized yet. So it's a completely, that doesn't function in the sophisticated world. It doesn't work.
Right.
Everyone knows it.
We just like to pretend sometimes. We say, oh, that does feel good, you know. Now, I have one last...
we like to pretend all the time, because that's why we go out and drink, you know, because drinking enables you to blind yourself to the long-term consequences of your actions. And there's no doubt that that's very, very rewarding in the short term. But it's also why you wake up the next morning hungover and ashamed.
Okay, guys, so it is basically the end of the day. I finished gym at like, 2 o'clock or something? Because I had to go slightly later. But anyway, that's not the whole point. I did my workout, and then I did all my other things for the day, and now it's time to go to bed. It's a bit late, but you know, progress is progress, and we take whatever progress that we can get. And it's just all about making incremental progress. Like I said before, it's all about the small improvements that we make day by day. And yeah. But now I was doing the incline bench press, and I realized Smith machine, obviously it gives you the stability, but I tried to do 25. I thought on Smith machine I could do 25. I tried to do it on 3 plates. Oh my gosh, that was a different beast. But the reason is I had to go down to 15. And even though I could do 15 for 4, but then I did like dips for 40 for 7. So I was a bit tired. But it's weird because like on Smith machine I do feel it. But with the free weight, even 15 kilos, just doing 4 reps of 15 kilos on an incline, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the stability, maybe it's the fact that I was just tired and I did heavy dips. But I really felt my chest was like popping off. So I might just stick to, I might just get off the Smith machine. Or maybe it's just the stability factor. Maybe it's the stability factor that's making my mind, my muscles work a bit harder to keep everything stable. And I literally did 4 reps. You saw in the footage, I tried to push for 5 reps. I got 4.5. And then I just stuck halfway and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And so maybe it's that. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Like I like that incline bench press. So I'm gonna do that, and let's see if I keep doing that every week or every other session. And it's just about making progress and just documenting along the way, so you guys can see how, if you're being consistent and if you put effort, and you know, leave the rest to everything with Allah. If you believe in all of that, then let's just see what happens. You know what I mean? Let's just see. So that is the end of the video, guys. You know, do all the YouTube algorithm stuff. You know, like, comment, sub, do all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care and peace, guys.